Scar Island by Dan Gemeinhart. So the setting of this book is on an island in an old brick teen prison that used to be home for crazy people, first named Slabhenge, but then it later was named Scar. So the book is about these kids when they get in trouble, they go to Scar Island, and Scar Island is a prison where you go there to work and do stuff for the guards. And when they work, they have to work all day, and some of the jobs are making the food, cleaning the dining room, and where the guards eat and clean the dishes.
Conflict is when all the guards die, and one kid thought he should be the leader because he has been there the longest, and some kids thought he should, and some thought he shouldn't. I liked the book because it was interesting and it made you want to read more because you would find out what happens. I would recommend the book to people that like mystery books and action books.
After a few minutes, Patrick sat straightening and painting, tied firmly to a chair. He had been too surprised at first to run when the pack of wild boys had rushed him. They'd caught and tangled him in a tidal wave of arms and hands and pulled him to the ground. Then he'd started fighting at first. He'd gained ground, he'd wrestled and twisted and was almost free when he felt the tip of Sebastian's sword pressed against his neck. "Don't move an inch," Sebastian had warned. Not an inch. Patrick had frozen and arms around his neck, others pinning his arms to his sides, his lungs heavying, and looked into Sebastian's eyes. He must not have seen any bluff there. He was tied up and walked to the chair where he sat looking around with wide eyes at the savage boys. Sebastian was pacing. He was grinding his teeth and idly swinging his sword. His eyes darted around the dark room, his shadow thrown onto the wet stone walls by the white flashes of lightning, loomed and jumped as he walked there. "Where is everybody?" Patrick asked again. "We're all right here," Sebastian said with a sneer, holding his arms open. "Yeah, but what about the Admiral? Mr. Vander, where are all the grown-ups?"
Benny, who was standing guard by Patrick's side, leaned in close to his face with a toothy sneer. "All the grown-ups are dead and gone," he said, "and that's just how we like it." Patrick looked at him like he was crazy. "What do you mean? You killed them?" "No," Sebastian shouted, spinning in a puddle. "We had nothing to do with it. It was lightning. They were all struck by lightning." Patrick gulped and looked around at the ring of frightened faces. "What? All of them?" "Yes, all of them," Sebastian yelled, stamping his foot in the puddle. "We had nothing to do with it." Patrick licked his lips and shrugged. "Okay, this is a crazy storm," he added, nothing with his chin at the raging tempest howling through the broken window. No, Sebastian said. Resume his pacing. "Not tonight. The last storm." "What? 5 days ago?" Patrick went pale. His eyes widened even further. 5 days. You've all been here by yourselves for 5 days. Sebastian stopped his walking and glared at him. "Yes, and we've been fine. Just fine." Patrick's eyes darted to the shattered sinner's sorrow, to Colin's bloody head and Jonathan's bloody nose.
You can find this book on Miss Herman's shelf and in the library, and you could also find it online on a bookstore.